Smriti Bania, 9D, 46. A Tiny Ripple of Hope by Robert F. Kennedy. There is discrimination in this world, and slavery and slaughter and starvation. Governments repress the people. Millions are trapped in poverty, while the nation grows rich, and wealth is lavished on armaments everywhere. But we can perhaps remember, even if only for a time, that those who live with us are our brothers, that they share with us the same short moments of life. And surely we can begin to work a little harder to bind up the wounds among us, and to become in our own hearts brothers and countrymen once again. It is a revolutionary world we live in, and this generation at home and around the world has a thrust upon it a greater burden of responsibility than any generation that has ever lived. Some believe there is nothing one man or one woman can do against the enormous array of world ills. Few will have the greatness to bend history itself, but each of us can work to change a small portion of events. And in the total of all those acts will be written the history of this generation. It is from numberless diverse acts of courage and belief that the human history is shaped. Each time a man stands up for an ideal, or acts to improve a lot of others, or strikes against injustice, he sends forth a tiny ripple of hope. And crossing each other from a million different centers of energy and daring, those ripples build a current that can sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression and resistance. And I believe that in this generation, those with the courage to enter the moral conflict will find themselves with companions in every corner of the globe. All of us will ultimately be judged, and as the years pass, we will surely judge ourselves on the effort we have contributed to building a new world society, and in this extent to which our ideals and goals have shaped that event. Our future may lie beyond our vision, but it is not completely beyond our control. It is the shaping impulse of America that neither fate nor nature nor the irresistible tides of history, but the work of our own hands, matched to reason and principle that will determine our destiny. There is pride in that, even arrogance, but there is also experience and truth. In any event, it is the only way we can live. Thank you.
Warm greetings to everyone. I am Midhavi Thapa of Class 9D. Today, I am here to present a short speech on the topic, The Prison of Perfection, by Prince E.A. Perfection, the condition or quality of being free of all flaws or defects. I think the actual definition should be a 10-letter word describing something that doesn't exist or present, maybe straitjacket. See, perfection is a virus, a tumor, a growth. It infects the mind of who it attaches itself to until it eventually destroys the host. I hate the very word perfection. It has driven me crazy for years, guided by fear. I was constantly comparing myself to my peers, stressing and striving to reach some idea that only existed in here. Oh, you thought perfection was real? Well, I disagree. I mean, have you ever seen a perfect tree? In real life, have you ever gone into a forest and seen a perfect tree? See, they all got a little something going on. Some lean this way, some lean that way. Some have a little too much loss, and some got a whole bunch of bark that's been ripped off. But somehow, they're all beautiful. But when it comes to people, we don't seem to see that we are all beautiful in all of our expression. So we dissect ourselves into pieces, judging each other, thinking perfection is something we can't achieve, which leads us to feeling depleted and defeated. But Salvador Dali said it best. Have no fear of perfection because you never reach it. Ladies and gentlemen, there are two doors in life. Door number 1, be perfect and be admired. Or door number 2, be real and be loved. I say choose number 2 and choose it quick because life's too short to try to live up to something that doesn't even exist. It makes no sense. So please create your own unique expression. Color outside the lines. Be the pretzel that refuses to nod. Be the marble that doesn't quite roll right. Do the dance that nobody's ever seen before. And don't worry if people stop and stare. I mean, if the Leaning Tower of Pisa was straight, nobody would care. See, when mistakes are made, beauty is born. You know why they call the Model T? Because that's how many letters it took for Henry Ford to get the Don car to work. So don't worry about always being the first and getting it right. I mean, Sony's very first product they ever made. It got twice. So embrace your mistakes. They are to be savored. Failure is the condiment that gives success its flavor. And true success is being yourself in a world that's constantly trying to make you someone else. You know, I was reading the other day about a Japanese tradition called kintsugi. What they do is, if an object breaks, they fill the cracks with pure gold. Because they believe that when something suffers damage and has a history, it is all the more beautiful. So I say love your cracks. You may call it brokenness, but it is the way your light will shine through. And if you have no one in your corner, then consider me your friend, and we will smile together as society tries to diagnose our gifts as disorders. You don't need to be a perfect person with perfect makeup, perfect skills, or perfect build, because the truth is, perfect people aren't real, and real people aren't perfect. Thank you.
Good day. I am Prabhavi Rana from Class 9D, and I will be delivering the Gettysburg Address of Abraham Lincoln. 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now, we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives, that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it, far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note, nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus so far nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be dedicated here to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Thank you.